Welcome everyone to the Money Soapbox. Now, today we're going to talk about mindset. It is all about mindset. Usually, we kick off every video with a money mindset shift before we dig into the rest of the video. But today, we're going to stay on mindset. Before we can move forward, we must shift the way that we think about money. Mindset is so important. It's so important that we're going to dig a little deeper into money mindset shift number 4. And that is Matthew 6:24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So it's referring to money as a master. But are we unknowingly trying to serve two masters? That's the question that we're going to answer today. And after this video, you will know without any doubt if that is the case for you. Now, the Bible lets us know that God and his kingdom are your providers, not the world, not the government, or any government program, not a job, not a business. It is God that provides everything that we need. So there is no need to bend the knee or to serve another God. In Matthew 6:33, it tells us, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all things will be given to you. So we must first seek the kingdom and his righteousness, because his kingdom comes with righteousness, and then everything else will follow. Now, for the people that consider themselves Christians or believe that they are Christians, are probably thinking, I don't have any other gods. I don't bow down to another god or statue. I go to church every Sunday. I pray. I don't follow any other religion, so I'm good. But here's the hard, cold truth. In American culture, another God has taken over the hearts and minds of many, many people. The money God. The American culture is obsessed with money. The obsession is everywhere. The hustle culture, get the bag, chase the money. Many people believe their purpose is to get the money first, and everything else will follow, only to achieve their goals and still come up empty. Does money rule over you and your life? That is the question that we're going to answer today. Ask yourself, do you wake up and go to sleep thinking about how to pay the bills? Do you stress over how to afford that outfit, vacation, or gift? Do you envy others wondering how they make their money? Have you skipped your children's activities because you, quote unquote, had to work, fearing you might get fired or replaced? Do you sacrifice family time, personal time, or even your own health for your job or business? Have you compromised your values just to keep that paycheck? Have you ever done something against your beliefs just to secure a job, whether it's taking the jab, lying on a resume, or falsifying documents? Have you ever sacrificed a pregnancy because you believed you couldn't afford to go through with it? Now, if you've answered yes to any of these questions, then money has become your master. And for those who claim Christianity, this means that you're trying to serve two gods. Well, you might be saying to yourself, well, it's not that simple. It's not that black and white. I'm doing what I need to do to get ahead or to get by. If I don't do what I have to do to keep my business going or keep that job, then who's going to pay my bills? Who's going to take care of my kids or my family? But see, God already answered that for you in Matthew 6:33. Seek him and he will guide you and direct you. A lot of us seek everything and anything but God. Running on autopilot rather than taking the time to seek God. Now, the difference between God's prosperity and the world's wealth or the money God's prosperity is God's prosperity and abundance comes with no sorrow, but wealth or abundance from the money God comes with stress, anxiety, depression, and worry. Just listen to some of the stories of millionaires and billionaires who openly admit to their struggles with depression, their struggles with different forms of addiction. And culture has normalized this suffering as a cost, quote unquote, cost of success. But that's not God's way. That's the world's way, which bends the knee to the money God. Now, some of you might be wondering or thinking to yourself, well, is it really possible just to serve God and God alone? So, I want to give you a real life testimony of my father, which I've talked about his life in other videos. But his life is a testament to Matthew 6:33. Seek God and his kingdom first, and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. So my father came to this country with little education, fifth grade being the highest education. He came here with no money and barely speaking any English. Now, by the world standards, he was at a disadvantage. But by Matthew 6:33, that says, seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and everything else will be added on to you. That's how he lived his life. That's what he did. So my father didn't go to church. He always said, I am the church. He prayed daily. He honored God and never complained, no matter what was going on in his life. He faced many challenges, just like everybody else, losing jobs, missing opportunities, betrayal. But he never bowed down to the money god. He always said, never be hungry for money. That was always his advice to anybody. Never be hungry for money. He never made a decision based on fear or the lack of money. He always said, my God has never let me down, no matter what his life looked like. He could be down to his last dollar, and there were many times that was the case. He was down to his last dollar and change, and somebody would come along that needed. And so he would tell them, listen, this is all I got left, but you can have it. And they would tell him, I appreciate it, but you know what? That's okay. I'm not going to ask you to give me your last dollar and some change. And my father would always say, I don't worry about it because my God has never let me down. So here. And sure enough, within a couple days, he was flowing with abundance. He never lacked, not one time. He was always overflowing with abundance. And not just for himself, but he gave generously to others, to people, to churches, to charities. And in the end, he left an inheritance to his children's children, the first in our family to do so. Now, meanwhile, those around him looking, because people are always going to look, they're always going to observe. Many of them were churchgoers. They went to church religiously every week. They believed by going to church, they were serving God. But they didn't realize while they were going to church on Sunday, serving God, the remainder of the week they were serving the money god. So 1 day for God, 6 days for the money god. And as a result, they were living paycheck to paycheck and always wondering why my father was so quote unquote lucky. But it wasn't luck. There's no such thing as luck in life. It was my father's obedience to the scriptures, going back to Matthew 6:33. My father always put God first. My father always made decisions by putting God first. It didn't matter whether he had a dollar or a penny to his name or if he had thousands of dollars in his pocket. He never changed. God was a priority in his life, and also trying to live according to the scriptures. Not a perfect life, because nobody's perfect, but trying to live according to his scriptures and not compromising his values or beliefs. So the bottom line is, no job, budget, or financial strategy can replace Matthew 6:33. If you're not seeking God first in everything, not just some, but in everything, making God first in your life, and that includes above you. If you're not seeking God first in everything, then you're seeking another God. And yes, sometimes that God, you're claiming it as being yourself. Now, this is why so many who claim to follow or who claim to be Christians are struggling financially. It's part of the reason. They say they trust God, but they live as if their provision comes or depends on their job, the economy, or through their own efforts. So, whether they know it or not, they're trying to serve two masters. And as a result, they don't see Matthew 6:33 manifest in their lives. And they get frustrated, and they continue to pray, wondering, why isn't God answering my prayers? Especially prayers when it comes to abundance and opportunities. But see, God makes it clear he will not share his place. It's all him or nothing. He does not place second to anything. So before we continue on this money soapbox journey, it's crucial to ask yourself, who are you truly serving? Are you truly serving God and God alone? Are you going to God for everything? Or are you consulting with the money God, aka the money in your bank account, or the borrowed money on your credit cards? Because at the end of the day, your life will testify on who you're truly serving. If you're looking around, examining your life, and you're not seeing Matthew 6:33 manifest in your life, it's time to answer the question, are you truly serving God? and God alone. Not just serving God, but God alone. That is the question. And yes, as you saw through the testimony of my father, yes, you can serve God and God alone. The world will try to tell you differently. So as you go throughout the week, examine the decisions that you're making. Do you wake up with God on your mind instead of money? Do you go to bed with God on your mind instead of money? If not, then it's time to change that. In order to see Matthew 6:33 manifest in your life, God must come first. And just as it was in the case of my father, where everybody was asking themselves, how can this man be so quote unquote lucky? They would be asking the same things about you. Now that's the life that God intended for each and every one of us to live. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Glory Soapbox. And next week, we'll continue on this journey. Mondays, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Same time, same channel.